Hi everyone, I'm Jack the Rambling Raconteur, and I hope that you're doing well. I wanted to join in this week with a Tag Tuesday book tag video, and since we've cleared the month of June, I thought it'd be great to do the mid-year Freakout book tag. So let's get freaky. Prompt 1. What's the best book you've read so far in 2022? It is absolutely The Sun Hath Looked Upon Me by Gabriela. I loved it. I cannot recommend the book highly enough. I've yet to find anybody else who's read it though. So I'll link my video in the description notes below, but I really encourage folks to read it. Biala is a writer who's from Cameroon, but has spent most of her adult life in France. The Sun Hath Looked Upon Me is a very short novel, but it packs an intelligent punch and a fiery punch. Biala is responding to so many ideas around who are the great writers from Africa? She's one of them. Who are the great, writers from Africa who are women? She's one of them. What was her childhood, her adolescence like? What is it like for her family, for her peers in those experiences, in the aftermath of colonialism, and finding her future forward and how she can determine that? It's a masterpiece. Prompt 2, the best sequel you've read so far in 2022. I have another one that I'll mention later in the video, but I'm going to go for this one with Notes of a Native Son by James Baldwin, which I regard as a sort of nonfiction essay sequel to The Great Native Son from Richard Wright. Baldwin is one of the true great writers, and as was Richard Wright, and the intelligence coupled with the emotion of Baldwin's ideas in Notes of a Native Son is what really sends it forward as a masterpiece. Prompt 3, a new release you haven't read yet but want to. Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I've been working through the Ramayana so that I have sort of the ancient foregrounding for what this book's going to involve, but I'm really looking forward to it. Right. Prompt 4, most anticipated release for the second half of this year. I don't have one, so if you have recommendations, please let me know. Prompt 5, the biggest disappointment. I don't like to go negative. It is going to be Storm by George Stewart. I thought the idea of having a novel centered around, where sort of the main character center of the book is around this hurricane as it develops and comes across the Pacific Ocean and then lands on the western coast of North America, would be really interesting. And it felt sort of like we were just checking in though. On each day, just checking in. There wasn't a lot of humanity or character development going on. So, biggest surprise, The Radiance of the King by Camara. I had heard really great things about it. It still blew me away. It felt like a Kafka was writing in Africa and valuing African culture. That was what it felt like. Or some of the ideas that Murakami has gone for in some of his novels. Haruki Murakami, I thought that Lei really achieved that with The Radiance of the King. Absolutely loved it. I'll link that video in the description notes as well. Prompt 7, your favorite new author, a debut or a new author to you. I'm going to go with 2 authors I read and their debut works. One is Nekesa Afia, who wrote Dead Dead Girls. It is a mystery set during the Harlem Renaissance. It's fantastic, and I believe she has a second book coming out maybe this year. That might be my most anticipated release for the second half of this year. And then the other one would be Janelle Monáe and the others who collaborated with Monáe in The Memory Librarian and other stories. Really enjoyed both of those. So hope that we get many works from both those writers moving forward. Prompt 8, newest fictional crush. It's a good thing I did this here after June 30th because I finished the book yesterday, and it is a sequel. It's from Oakley Hall's Ambrose, Bierce, and the Death of Kings. I had previously read Ambrose, Bierce, and the Queen of Spades, which I thought was okay. This one was better. It's set around the annexation of Hawaii by the U.S. and just how many criminal machinations were going on and inhumane machinations were going on there. But there's also a pair of mysteries going on as the Hawaiian king is dying in San Francisco there in 1891. It's a really good book. The characterizations around Ambrose Bierce were effective in both, but what I really appreciated was just the sense of the more global sense that was going on in this second one. But there was also a character who reminded me a lot of my wife, Haunani Brown, who is a Hawaiian woman, and the way she's described, she's like 6 feet tall. And as I was reading, I was like, this is like my wife if my wife was Hawaiian. And so I was talking to her and reading sections from it to her. And so reading that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's always interesting when I find something like that. So really enjoyed that book for many reasons. Prompt 9, my newest favorite character. I think I'm gonna go with Sula Peace from Toni Morrison's Sula. Sula's really interesting in terms of, again, like what Calixta Biala was working with in The Sun Hath Looked Upon Me. We have a character who's trying to find her way forward and questioning what that has to mean and what does she have to give up to have the freedom or the sense of self that she would like. And so I thought that was really interesting. The friendship between Sula and Nell and the way that transformed and shifted was also really interesting. I thought Sula was fantastic, and the character Sula piece was, again, just a character that stuck in my mind. Prompt 10 and 11, the book that made me cry is also the book that made me happy. It's Green Eggs in Ham by Dr. Seuss. It's because that was the book that our older daughter read totally on her own, all the way through, cover to cover, in one sitting, earlier this year during the spring. It was wonderful. I was super proud of her. And she's been reading all summer. She's been reading. It's been fantastic. Prompt 12, the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I have a couple contenders. Probably it's the 3-volume Flower Ornament scripture, the Avatamsaka Sutra. I'm excited because Noah from Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse and I are going to be reading chapter 39, the entry into the realm of reality, coming up here in July. It's gonna be interesting. But I also found, this is really cool, a copy of The Battlefield Where the Moon Says I Love You by Frank Stanford, a fascinating poet from Arkansas, where my paternal grandmother's from. And this is this massive epic poem. I've read sections from it. I've read a number of Stanford's earlier like chapbook collections of poetry, but I'm really excited to get into this. I just found this actually on our trip in a bookstore in Minnesota. And then the other one that I'm pretty proud of is I found the 4-volume copy of Journey to the West by Wu Cheng'en that Anthony Yu had translated. So I'm really excited to be getting into this after the Flower Ornament scripture, because in part there are aspects of it that parody what's going on in Entry into the Realm of Reality. So those are books I've really been excited to acquire. Prompt 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, I'm hoping to read The Tale of Genji in August, again with Noah. So here's my accountability partner on that. And then I'm really excited to read The Adventures of China Iron by Gabriela Cabezon Camara. I'm also going to read the El Gaucho de Martín Fierro, the Gaucho epic from Argentina, that this book is sort of a response to and amplifying. So I'm going to be reading the Argentine epic earlier in July, and then I'll be getting into this around the middle of the month, and really looking forward to it. So that was the mid-year Freakout book tag. I don't know how freaky we got, but let me know. And again, I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks.